Hello, Michael E. Parker here for another episode here on You Are a CEO, and we are so glad to have you. We are talking about the power of the moment, and you're going to learn more about what that means and why that is so important. But listen, I am so excited because I have someone that I'm so happy to have on this particular show, and that is Holly Drennen. And Holly Drennen is the founder of Holly D Photography. Holly, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can. Thank you for having me.
No, thank you. Thank you for being here. And I just have to say, before we even get deep into this, and you're going to find out, what are we talking about? What does this all mean? What is the moment? What is the power? Listen, I just want to say something about Holly. Holly is someone who I have watched grow into just a wonderful entrepreneur, and, seeing her begin to prosper and grow. And I want you to know that when you see someone, growing as an entrepreneur, you can always learn things from their journey. But I also want you to learn something very, very critical. All of you out there that you love my thumbnails with my pictures on them, and I be doing stuff in my thumbnail, we want to make sure you know about all of our episodes and shows. That is Holly D Drennen, Holly D Photography at her best. And I just want to thank you publicly, Holly, for your work. I mean, all my photographs always are so professional, and people see them all the time. They ask me, where did this come from? How does this thumbnail look like this? Where are these photos? How do you have so many? And I always want to tell them, you're my secret, and I reveal it today. I reveal it. Holly, I want to thank you publicly for all my wonderful photos.
Oh, you're welcome. I always have a great time. You're so photogenic and so easy to take photos of, so you make my job easy.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Well, I think you make it easy for me because you tell me where to go, how to do, details of how your shirt lays or put your hand in your pocket. I'm like, wow. And so just to see you grow in your craft, it's just been wonderful. So I just wanted to thank you for that. And I want to, just, before we talk about a few things, I know, and it's pretty evident now to everyone watching, that you are a photographer, and a very good one, might I add. I'm very impressed with, just because I've seen you in your journey and seen you grow. Tell me, how did this come about that you got into photography? Was this something you always knew as a kid you wanted to do? What happened? How did you get here?
That's interesting. So, I always loved doing photos. I always had a camera in my hand. My mom always took me to Walgreens to get my photos developed, or Walmart or someplace like that to get my photos developed. I didn't think I was going to be a photographer, honestly. I thought I was going to be an artist. I love art. I actually got a degree in art, nice. Drawing. So I thought I was going to be an artist when I was younger. But then they always told me I couldn't make money off of it. So I was like, all right, I guess I can't do that then. So then I had a senior project in high school, and from there I was practicing. I was doing different things with photography. I had to do this big presentation at the end of the year to see if I was going to graduate. So it's a lot of pressure. So I practiced a lot. I did a lot of work. And actually my principal was in on that, and she just loved the photos that I did. And she was like, you are going to be a great photographer one day. I was like, oh, okay. Wow. Didn't think too much of it at that time.
Yeah.
So then after that, I was just doing it on the side. Didn't think I was going to really do it. Went to school, went 2 years into school for that. And then I was going to transfer to do graphic design, actually. The cards weren't in for me for that. And actually, I'm very glad that I didn't go in that pathway, or else there would be no Holly D Photography.
Wow. So this kind of, when you did that school project, was that the first time it kind of hit your mind, like, maybe I'm good at something that I didn't even realize I was just trying to do my assignment? Is that kind of when it first, like, the curiosity began?
Yes, actually, yes. That's when it first began. I always loved taking photos of the different moments, but I didn't, think that it could be a career. Who would think a photographer, you could do this full time, as a career for the rest of, for your life, and capturing moments for different ones, through their lives. Who would have thought? You would think you have to go to school to be a big, entrepreneur. I mean, not an entrepreneur, but someone in the business corporate world.
Right.
So that's what I actually went into for 5 years. I was working for 5 years in the corporate world, and then I transferred out into doing photography full time.
So you actually, and I want to touch on this for a minute, and I know you have a long history with, you are a CEO. I mean, you're a part of this community, you know the mindset, and I'm just, so grateful. You're like a product of that mindset that we're all trying to live every day, including me. And so I see you being the CEO of your life, which has led you to being the CEO of a business. And I want you to think about, back in your journey when people started to tell you you couldn't make money as an artist, and they tried to put their limited beliefs in your mind, right? And it caused you to second guess a little bit, right? And then you end up doing art maybe in a different way through photography. And it seems like although the door was opened early on in your life, you still went the corporate route. You went into some traditional environments in work, but somehow you must have overcome those thoughts to say, there's something missing, and you felt there was something else you were supposed to do.
Yes, actually. So it's an interesting journey. I really thought that I couldn't do art as a career. I loved it so much, but I didn't think I could do it. But because I'm a photographer, that is actually art. I'm able to capture different angles that people don't see, different things that people don't see, different moments people don't know that you can capture. I a lot of times anticipate moments, honestly, because I'm like, okay, this person's about to laugh. Let me capture that. He's going to make them laugh. So let me capture them laughing. Oh, this is the moment that the bride and the groom is going to see each other and he's going to cry. So I know, that I can capture that, so it's interesting where you're able to capture all these different moments in an artistic way, and then, just capture it for people. So moving from the corporate world, I'm actually glad that I did that, because that helped me to build the business part of my, photography side. I had the art, I had the vision, I had all those things, but if I didn't know how to write an email to professionally to a client or write invoices or different things like that, I wouldn't have known the business side of things. So it's actually good meshing them together.
Yeah. And I love, because, I was looking at something online, Holly, where they were showing how some photographers were doing some creative stuff, and they would be like putting the camera to a certain place with a glass and pouring some water with the sun in the back, and it looked like this picture that was like, wasn't even real. Just the creative stuff you can do, to make a photo look like something. I remember we did a photo where my office doors were kind of closed, and I was standing in between the crack of the doors, and you made it look a certain way. I was like, wow, there's so much art in it. And so to see how you recreated that passion for art and used it, I just want to call out for those that are watching, this is what it's all about in terms of being the seal of our life, is, staying in there and being willing to learn, being willing to grow, being willing to keep pushing, because then as you do that, when life opens up certain opportunities, you have to notice them. Even when before you thought it wasn't possible, you went ahead and moved forward, and it turned into something very, very real and a real business. And I think that, how did it feel to transition from a hobby to a business?
Ooh, that's a good question. So it was, I was nervous at first, but I knew this is something that was meant for me to do. So first and foremost, I planned before I left my career at Kaiser, or my job at in the corporate world. And so I planned, I saved up money. I made sure that just in case.
Right.
Which actually you are a CEO taught me all these years. You can't just, jump into something without planning for it. You have to have goals. You have to make sure that you have the time. You have to make sure all these different things. So I used all those different skills to make sure that I was going in, the right direction. So doing that, though, I made sure that I had a full year planned and booked for the full year before I left, and that made me feel more comfortable.
Yeah.
And it was a little nervous, but I knew after, and there's a lot of, different I guess trials or different roadblocks that hit me, cameras wouldn't work, or, things would break. All at the beginning, everything was breaking on me. I was like, oh no, this is not right. I'm like, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? But it was. And then everything started flourishing.
You start second guessing yourself a little bit.
I did.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's great because then I was able to see, okay, I can get through those roadblocks, and I've been through. So if something else comes up, I know that I can get past it. I've had those different situations in the past. I can get past it and be able to, flourish and be able to, build on it. So even, if a wedding, it rains that day, and a lot of, there's always rain on weddings in the winter. Yeah. So, you don't, you just know, like, okay, I've been through that before. This is what I do. The bride has, stains on her dress. This is what you do. Bad hair day. This is what you do. So it's like you're planning for those different moments.
Yeah, well, I just want to, again, just hats off to you again, Holly, for what you've become and really beginning to become a professional in what you do, a true business. And I want to go back, though, in talking about moments, right? Because you're in the business of capturing moments. And I love what you said about anticipating the moment. I mean, that is powerful, that you have learned a skill of anticipating the moment. And I don't know if you realize how powerful that is, because life is a inventory of moments that we had, right? Moments of extreme emotion, extreme happiness, joy, sadness, whatever things we've dealt with. These moments hit us. And of course, we want more moments of joy and happiness and things that bring fulfillment. And this is what really, life brings, that good cry that was an emotion and a heart-wrenching thing that you just want to remember, that smile, that laugh, that moment of feeling a sense of accomplishment when you see your son or your daughter accomplish something, just all the love, all these things. So the ability to anticipate moments, capture moments. Tell me what is it like in, working every day in a business that is completely focused on the moment?
That's a hard question, but I'm going to try to answer. I honestly just know that that's what I love to do. I love to be able to capture people's moments and their journey in life, honestly, because so say if there's a child being born, that's some moments that you want to remember. You're never going to see them at that age again. You're going to, getting a child to smile
right.
is the toughest thing ever.
Right.
But you have to do all these different things to get them to smile, and you have to anticipate okay, if I do this, they're gonna smile, different things that you have to do. It's so tough.
And I wonder how, I don't want to cut you off, but I wonder how in some of the movies and stuff, you wonder how did they get that shot? How did they get that kid to do that right then in the crib, or to look at? Now I know there's a lot of digital stuff going on, but sometimes you could tell it was real, and they had to work to create that moment somehow. It's really, really amazing.
No, seriously. I thought the same thing yesterday. I was watching this old show, and that, back in the day, they had to do real live things,
right.
real live moments and shots. So they didn't have all that digital technology back in the day. And there was this kid, and he was just genuinely happy and genuinely smiling. And I was just thinking, I need to do some of those things to get, those type of shots. And I was just thinking, okay, I wonder if they did this at this moment, so then he would do this. So I'm actually thinking along those lines too, as far as how they got those moments and, different shots like that, so then I could get them. But as far as the moments where it's just, you're in the moment, right? You are, say, even if you're speaking on stage, right, Mr. Parker, and you're talking to the audience, and it's just an intense moment. You're talking about different things in your childhood or different things like that. You know that they're going to be interested, right? That's how you kind of know that that's what's going to happen. You're anticipating their emotions with your emotions. They're connecting with you, right? So then, then you're starting to talk about different things along your life and how, you're really funny. Just, everyone knows that, but you're pretty, you're pretty funny. So when you tell a joke, I mean, the punchline, I know you're heading, where you're heading to. So I'm able to, I also look in the crowd to see who gives the most, who's the most vibrant with their emotions.
Yeah.
Yes. And so I actually focus on those specific people that would give me those type of moments too. So if they're a person that's just like straight face, I know I'm not going to focus on them unless somehow you get them to smile,
Yeah. And the truth is, you have too much information on me. That's number one, because you've been watching me and taking video and snapshots, and I appreciate you so much for doing that. But also, you just have all this arsenal, and you probably start learning things that I do and stuff. And so it's kind of good and bad here. Like you just know a little too much, and I think though, what's amazing about what you're saying though is you start developing a skill for anticipating where there's going to be laughter or happiness or seriousness or thought-provoking. And what's kind of interesting, as we talk about this, you mentioned about planning, and you had to use planning to move into entrepreneurship. And then we talked about anticipation of the moment. But when you bring those two together and think about planning for the moment, I really think, and I was talking about this once, Holly, where we need to take life a little bit more seriously in terms of, have we tried to figure out how to plan to have more moments of complete happiness and fulfillment? Like, instead of just waiting for something to happen and it happened to happen over here and it happened to happen over there, but to think about, like, life is short, and how can I create as many opportunities to have these types of moments where I laugh, where I smile, where I'm happy, where I feel extreme joy? That is an interesting thought of, the greatest anticipation is actually planning to have these moments in our life. What do you think about that?
I love that, honestly. So one, I would say that is so true. You have to plan those moments. If you are, I like to plan different things. I like to do a lot of variety of different things. So a lot of outdoorsy, very outdoorsy. So I usually plan to have moments like that during, the months, just to make sure that I have a day off and trying to make sure that I do things that I actually really enjoy. But honestly, it is your mindset too. Like, you can't have a mindset that this is going to be a dull day, or this is going to be like the worst day. If you wake up like that, then that's how it's going to be, what your mind is how it's going to be. So you honestly have to change your mindset to be able to have that joy, or there's laughters or different things like that. Even if it's a phone call with a client, make sure that it's a happy phone call. I always like to talk about, their moments, like, how did they meet, and then it makes them have a joyful moment, them thinking about each other, them, talking about how he proposed, and just thinking about, oh, this was such a great moment, or it was a funny moment, like when he dropped the ring or something, So, so it's nice to be able to talk about those things. And then a lot of my days, capturing these different shots, I always try to make sure that they have a good time, right? So I want to have a good time. I want you to have a good time, and a lot of people just in the photography world, it's like half and half. A lot of people are nervous to have their photos taken. Half of them just love having photos taken. So it's like half and half. So you gotta kind of know the person, or you kind of develop this knowledge of who that person kind of is. So you base, your response is based off of them, right?
Yeah.
So what I always do is I always try to get them comfortable. I always try to make sure like I get to know them a little bit, so then I can talk about what they like to do. So then they're having great moments. They're smiling. They're enjoying the time. And then the time flies. And they're like, it's already been this amount of time?
And when you think about that, Holly, what you're really talking about, which is so important, which is something you might not even realize you're developing skills in, is energy control. Is really creating the ability to control the energy of other people to prepare them for the moment. And now I bring this up because you talked about how, we might have something come up in our day or something that comes up. And one thing is there's things that can rob you of the moment. Because I could be in a moment, but get some bad news, or have my mind, you mentioned about the mind, have my mind in the wrong place. And even though I'm in the moment, and technically this moment is special, it doesn't feel special anymore because of where my mind is. So also the power of the moment is understanding how not to let your thoughts and your mind or situations rob you of a moment. Because I'm sure you can tell when you're about to do a photo shoot and the energy's not right. Maybe they got some bad news, or they're just not, they're tired, and you can take a picture and smile, but it's different when it's real. It's different when you really feel that smile, when you really are happy, when the energy is right. So will you agree that this is such a critical area, is the reality of authentic moments, because people are really there?
Yes, I agree, because, I'll be taking different photos of different ones, and say if they did get that bad news. I do remember this specific person, actually, just off the top of my head. This one specific person had some bad news about their dad. He just passed away. Their wedding was 2 weeks away.
Wow.
She made sure, it was really sad, honestly. She made sure that she got proposed to 3 months prior. Usually you plan a wedding about 6 months to a year. She was asking me, she said, do you have anything like in just like 3 months? I want to make sure he's there for my wedding. She was planning because he was sick and, going through a lot of different things. So what I actually even told her, I was like, why don't you get dressed up in your wedding dress before your wedding, just in case, just to make sure you have those photos in your wedding dress with your dad.
Right.
So, we made sure that we got those moments so that it wasn't as bad on the day of the wedding, honestly. It was really sad that he wasn't able to walk her down. She had her brother walk her down.
Right.
But what I tried to do on the day of the wedding is totally get her mind off of that. I did not want her mind on that at all. I wanted her mind on her and her husband, the one she's going to spend the rest of her life with, that she's been anticipating, being with for the rest of her life. So what I did is I always have, this communication with them. I always really like to talk to them. You know me, I like to, talk a lot.
Yeah.
So I like to talk to them, but I also like to make them feel comfortable and not have their mind on those type of moments.
Right.
I don't want her to be sad on her wedding day. It's one day that you're always going to remember, right? You're always going to remember. And if you're thinking like, oh man, I just remember my dad not being there, that's going to be always a sad moment for you. Yeah. I mean, that's always going to be sad. Yeah. So what I did is I honestly just gave it my all. Totally just got her mind off of her dad, and she honestly had a great day. At the beginning of the day, she was really sad, but you could tell those moments that she was having was very genuine. She was really enjoying herself. I also like to play a lot of games while I'm taking photos of couples specifically. So then you do get that authentic type of moments, and authentic type of like laughter, joy, different things like that. So I do a lot of that to get those moments.
Thank you so much for sharing that story. That is a powerful, powerful story. And I know you have many, many more. And I love that you're thinking about how to create an environment for the moment to happen, in that moment to come about, whether it's playing a game or saying something funny or making people feel relaxed. You're really a moment manager, right? And I think it's really powerful that that's what you're doing, in what you're doing every day. And so I just want to thank you so much, Holly, because You really have captured moments that were so special throughout my journey as an entrepreneur, as someone who helps in the community in many areas. You have really been there, as a professional, and showed up with some of the most historic, shots and memories. And, I'm very, very grateful for that, and grateful for you. You really become an outstanding person at what you do. And I want to ask, because, we can't leave here without asking the big question. If somebody out there wants to have Holly D do their photography for them, and, they really want those moments captured by you, how do they find you? How do they contact you so that they could, get some of your services?
Oh, yes. This is the time to do it, too. This is the best time to get your photos taken. Summertime.
Yeah.
Don't wait till winter. Don't get those rainy shots. I know how to get them, but don't wait till the winter time. So what you can do is you can go to my website. It's hollydphotos.com. Holly as in D as in David. So don't do B, do D. Right. Also, my email is holly@hollydphotos.com. So you can reach me. That's the best way to contact me, is via email.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. Everybody now has the secret. They know how to get to you. And I know I'm going to keep coming to Holly D. I really appreciate all that you do. Do you have any final word for everyone watching this, and they've heard about the power of the moment and whatever they're going through right now, whatever they're dealing with right now, and they're thinking about how to create more of those moments in their life that matter? Any final word to those who may be watching?
Yes, actually, we have all these moments, and don't waste them. Make sure that you really enjoy them. We don't get time back. We want to make sure that we honestly have the best time of your life every day. Make sure you take all those moments. Make sure you seize the moment.
Perfect. That is a perfect conclusion to this wonderful episode. Thank you so much, Holly, for all that you added. And all of you out there, make sure you like and you subscribe and you comment and do all the YouTube stuff. And make sure, whatever you do not let life just pass you by. This life is full of moments that we can create, we can anticipate, we can plan, we can notice, and make sure that you wake up every day thinking about, this is another 24 hours to think about ways that I can create moments that will be with me for the rest of my life, not just in photos, not just on video, but in our hearts and mind. And so make sure that you fight for that. Don't let life happen to you. Start to figure out what you want life to be, what you want to become, and what you want to make of life. Because the moment you realize that, then you become the CEO of you. And that's what this is all about. So make sure you remember the power of the moment, and you always have an opportunity here at You Are a CEO to be reminded that you are the executive of every decision you make, and success is in front of you if you truly, truly want to fight for it. Thank you so much for being here. Until next time, keep being the CEO of you and be the executive of your own success. I'll see you soon.